Hello and welcome to my knitting podcast. I believe this is episode 53. It's been about 2 weeks since I last recorded a video. And I've got my little cat Fergus in my lap, although I don't know if you can see him. I kind of doubt it, but he might stand up, or you might see a tail swish into frame. And my boyfriend is on the phone in the other room, so you also might be able to hear him. It's a beautiful day here in Philadelphia. It was 27 degrees Celsius. I don't know how hot that is in Fahrenheit, but that's pretty warm. And it was beautiful out. Been enjoying the weather. I have quite a few finished objects. As in two. I have two finished objects to show you, and one new work in progress, and then one whip which I put a lot of work into. So let's just get into it. The first finished object, it's funny because I say this for the third podcast in a row, is the Buness tam by Mary J. Mucklestone. This is the third one of these that I've finished. All of them have been gifts so far, and I think that this is my favorite. It's this really moody green and brown colorway that has some really low contrast areas. I'm holding my other most recent one. So I changed the colors. Okay, I'll maybe go back. This is a Fair Isle pattern. I think it was originally in a book, but you can get the pattern separately. The book looks very nice, but I just bought the pattern on its own. And I'm making this because I saw a sample in a shop and loved it. So that's sort of what inspired me to make all of these. I wanted to make two as gifts for my two friends who I was visiting when I saw the sample, who both really liked it. So I made the first one sort of for myself as a test, and my dad saw it and fell in love with it. And I gave it to him, and he's been wearing it ever since. So I've then made this one for the friend who really likes purple, and I used sort of a beige and white. It's actually not white, it's actually a peach color, but it looks white. For the back, I guess it's the foreground, and I had like this purple and green as the little blips of color. And then for this one, I used brown, this really interesting dyed-in-the-wool brown as my main color, and then had this sort of low contrast green color combination. And I think that it came out great. I really like it. I did move the colors around from what it is in the pattern, just because, this is my third one, and I don't normally knit things more than once. So just to keep it interesting, I moved the colors around. And for this one, I don't know if you can see, but for this accent color row, I actually used black and white. And I think that that's really very effective, and it makes the colorway quite punchy. It doesn't use a whole ball of any colors. It uses barely any of the contrast colors, and maybe like 1/2 to 2/3 of a ball of the main one that you do the ribbing in. And it's a really enjoyable pattern. I'm gonna send these two off. I guess I'll put it on to show you what it looks like. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I don't have the best light today. It's just been it's cloudy, but I felt like recording a video. So I don't know if that was super visible, but if it's not, I'll pop in a picture. And I'm gonna send this off. It's maybe not hat weather anymore. But, these things don't go bad, so I'm sure that whenever it arrives, even if it's too hot, it will get worn just next year when it gets cold. I'm trying to think about what else to say about this. I love picking out colorways. I was saying about how my dad has been wearing his nonstop, and he also sent a picture of it to my grandmother, and she requested one too. So I've been I've called her a couple of times and shown her some colors because she would like me to make her one. And we settled on a colorway, which I haven't started yet, but I'll show you. She wanted one that wasn't so moody and was sort of a springtime, sorry Fergus, springtime colorway. So this is what we're going to do. Hope that you can see it. I really don't know. So I'm gonna start my 4th version of that hat soon. Maybe not like today or tomorrow, but within the next week, just to keep the ball rolling on that. I'm a little bit tired of knitting this pattern, but it's just really good. It's a great pattern, and I think my color choices have been nice. So it makes sense to me that my grandmother wants one. So I'll try and get that done for her. Before I started knitting it with the colors moved around, I did a little colored pencil drawing of what it might look like with the different color placement. And it looks, I mean, this is much lighter because it's just cheap colored pencils, but it looks kind of similar. It was a very good tool. You can see in this more clearly the black and the white accent row. So that's good. If you want to know what something will look like, sometimes just a little colored pencil drawing will help you visualize. At least it did for me. My room is so messy right now. I just really didn't feel like doing a big clean before recording, so I thought it would just be fine, but now I'm having some second doubts because I feel a little bit like exposed mess-wise. I guess you can't see this, like all the stuff on the floor. But whatever. I'm thinking it's probably fine. My next finished object is a washcloth. I don't make a lot of washcloths. This is actually only my 2nd. But here it is. It's made out of a yarn from Purl Soho, which has been discontinued, which is a shame because it's a really cool yarn. I've got one more skein so I can show you what it looks like in the skein. Looks like that. It's like a cotton yarn. It's a cotton yarn, but it's got little bits coming off of it, and it's a little bit abrasive. It's not very soft. So it's called Home Life, and I really like this. I bought this on a complete whim, having never had any interest in making any washcloth, and I don't really like knitting with cotton. But I just really liked these 3 colors together, and I thought that it could be interesting. I guess that was about 2 years ago. I made this first washcloth, back then, and I haven't used it because I've been waiting to finish the set. And after casting off that hat, I just kind of wanted another small project to work on, and I'd already wound this up into a ball. So I just cast on, it's a free pattern on the Purl Soho website. It's just cast on 40 stitches and knit until it's a square, and then you make this loop with a 2-stitch I-cord. You make the 2-stitch I-cord, then you sew it down. So they're not quite the same size, but this has been hanging for about 1.5 years, and similar enough. I could probably go up a needle size, and apparently when you wash them, they shrink up a little, so that's fine. I wouldn't say I enjoyed knitting this. It's kind of a tough yarn to work with, but I love this color, and yeah, I think it's nice. Eventually I'll get around to the 3rd one, and then I can use the washcloths. If they still made this, I would probably be trying to make some sort of garment in it because I love the fabric. It's so interesting. I really like how fuzzy it is, but they don't still make it, so that's a shame. They make like things that are very similar to it. If you can hear the banging, I have a new neighbor that shares like the wall of the room that I'm in. He's very nice, but he moved in recently. He's been doing some work on the house, and there's been a lot of banging. So can't blame him, but it is a bit annoying. Yeah. Okay. I feel like I'm going very quickly through everything, but maybe that's okay. Maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Alright, I've got 2 more whips to show you in the fastest video that I've ever made. I've got two more whips. The next one is the one that you may have been waiting for if you're a returning viewer, and it is my Hanukkah jumper, my colorwork cabled raglan sweater. I have finished the body. I think I was working on, I don't remember which one I was working on the last time I recorded, but I got them both up to the underarm, and then I decided I would work on them 2 at a time and just embrace the slog. I'm so close to finishing this project. It's been on the needles since August, so that's quite a long time. And yeah, and I had the idea over 2 years ago. So it's ready to be finished, you know, like timeline wise. And I've done 1 2/3 of the sleeves. So this sleeve is completely finished. And this sleeve is, I haven't done the raglan shaping for this sleeve yet, which I can't forget because I think well, I'll go back. I'm not going to forget, but it's important to remember that I still have that to do so that I'm not really excited to be finished and then disappointed when I remember that I still have like a pretty significant bit of knitting left to go. So I'm using the Honeycomb Fisherman Sweater by Gayle Bunn, which is a free pattern which you can find on Ravelry, for yarn inspirations. I'm making the turquoise size. I don't remember which size that is, but the sizes are color-coded when you download the pattern, and I'm making the turquoise one. I did not gauge swatch before starting this, which may have been the stupidest decision I've ever made. I don't know yet. It's definitely not going to be too small, I'll say that, but it might be too big. But I'm not going back now. I have changed quite a lot of elements of this pattern. I've added this heart cable, which you can see here, which I think is so cute. And then I moved around a lot of the cables on the body, which you can see here. I added the heart one, and on the original design for the larger sizes, it's sort of like the sleeves in that it just adds these 2 repeating cables to the edge. And the larger sizes just have loads of that at the edge. And I just didn't really want that on mine. So I added this other cable, and I'm color blocking it. I'm using Jamieson & Smith yarn and held double, and I'm using a 5mm needle. So yeah, I'm at the point in the pattern where I'm sort of going off on my own away from what's written in the pattern. I was using the Kinsan pullover from Moon and Turtle as a basis for my raglan shaping. But after having looked at it, I didn't think that it was going to decrease the body stitches fast enough so that I wouldn't end up with a really deep yoke or a really wide neckline. So instead of doing what was written in the, also I'm re-engineering the pattern to be bottom up in pieces instead of top down seamless, which actually isn't that difficult because it gives you frequently stitch counts at the end of every section. So I know which size I'm making, and I look at how many stitches it says I need at the end of a section and how many at the beginning and how many rows, and then I sort of spread out whatever needs to be done in the number of rows for the section. But for this one, I thought that it didn't seem like it was decreasing fast enough, so I decided to have a period where I decreased on each side of the raglan every round instead of every other round. And it ended up with this, and I think I did that for 14 rows. The yoke is just going to be deep no matter what I do, and I don't think it's realistic to expect a close-fitting neckline. I think that it would probably get really bunchy if I tried to do that, even though that's sort of what my vision is. I think I just need to lean into it being really oversized, and if the neckline is too big, maybe I knit like a turtleneck so that it's not cold. But I think right now I'm worrying more than I need to about it. But I guess this is the appropriate time to be really thinking about this. So up until this underarms, I was knitting the front and back of the body, not on the same needle, but just I was knitting one and then I knit the other. And I've switched to knitting them truly two at a time on the same needle, row for row. And even though in the past when I've done this, I've just ended up making double the mistakes and having to rip back both pieces, I sort of resigned myself to that because I thought if I modify this pattern, I really want to be able to make it the same on both sides, and I just don't want to risk forgetting what I've done because it can be kind of hard to read the stitches with the cable motifs, and even just decreasing in pattern for the cables, I wanted to be doing exactly the same thing, even if there's a chance where if I did it for the second time it would look better, I just wanted it to look the same. And it's not always that intuitive when you're decreasing over cables. So you can see my cable decrease through this diamond section. Or maybe if I show you the green, it will be easier to see. I think it looks pretty good. But, you know, it's not like obvious where you would decrease for the motif. So I also cast off a few more stitches than I had originally planned to because I referenced back to my sleeve because the cast off number kind of needs to be close to the same, and I realized I'd cast off more for the underarm for the sleeve. So yeah, I'm in the second section of raglan shaping, which is the biggest chunk of pattern. Like there's like raglan shaping A, raglan shaping B, raglan shaping C, and I'm in B, and it's like 40 rows of doing the same thing. So I just started this new section. It's gonna be pretty big, but every row it does get shorter. So I don't know, I'm loving the colors. I think if you look at each side on its own, none of them really they don't look like the colors. I don't think look that great. It would be nice to have some lighter colors in here. But I think that all together, it really looks good, if that makes sense. Like if you look at, I think you get the intention if you see all the pieces together at once. And I think it's gonna be great. I'm planning on having the collar be bright red. I do also have a yellow, which could be good, but I'm not sure if I want yellow. I think red might be nicer as the collar. So this is exciting. I'm not like as projects go, I'm not close to finishing it because I probably still have, I don't know, like if I just work on the jumper, 3 or more weeks of work on it. Because the sleeve is a pretty significant piece of knitting, and then the front and back yoke as well. So that is a couple, maybe it's 2 weeks if I really work on it, of knitting. But by the metric of this pattern, I'm really honing in on the end. So that's so exciting. When I was making my knitting plans for 2025, I made a lot of like grand plans, and I didn't really consider that I had this huge, big project on the needle. And now I've been knitting on it for almost 3 whole months, a quarter of the entire year. But I think it's gonna come out great, and I'm pretty proud of it. So yeah, it's a great pattern, both of the patterns I'm using. I haven't really ended up using the Kinsan as much as I thought I would be using it because I've kind of gone my own way on the shaping. But it's nice. I picked that one because I had the Moon and Turtle book already and it looked really nice. But I haven't ended up using it as much as I thought I was going to. So yeah. I've made so much progress since I last showed it in a podcast. It's really exciting. And now it's for a while it's been too big to bring anywhere, but now I feel a little bit precious about it. So it just stays right here and I just work on it when I have perfect conditions and I feel alert because I don't want to make any big mistakes. There's a couple miscrossed cables here and there, that sort of thing I'm not bothered about. But like if I ended a cable wrong, or if there are problems that I would go back and fix, and I'm trying not to make any of those problems. My last work in progress is another jumper, sort of. It's one of the things that I put that I wanted to make this year at my big video at the beginning of the year, and it is a mesh linen top. I'm using the Look at My Holes pattern by James N. Watts. And I've only just started it the other day, and I'm only 1 repeat in, but you can already see, well, maybe you can see where it's going. I'm a little worried that this won't get over my head, but I'll test it as soon as I join it in the round, and if I can't fit it over my head, then I guess I'll start again. This yarn is from Swoon Fibers, and it's the Marla yarn. It's a lace weight linen, silk linen, with 115 grams at 756 yards. I bought this ages ago. I have 2 balls of it. I guess they were originally skeins. And it's sort of the last standing summer yarn in my yarn stash. I've sort of stopped buying summer fibers because it's quite rare that I both enjoy knitting summer garments and enjoy wearing summer garments. And even if both of those stipulations are met, I don't enjoy washing the summer garments, and they do need to be washed more. So yeah, it's just not, I think that it's not something I really want to be doing that much in the future. I was looking at a beautiful pattern, I don't remember what it's called, I'll pop a picture in, by Teddy's Knit Garden. It's a summer blouse. It's sort of a peasant blouse style with a picot cast on and a keyhole and a drawstring. But it calls for a lace weight mohair to be held with the linen. And it's hot here. I don't think I'm gonna want to wear mohair in the summer. So I sort of ruled that out, and I made this swatch to try and see if I could just hold it on its own. It's quite sheer, But I think that oftentimes when something is knit up as a garment, it doesn't seem as sheer as it is in the swatch. But I just really didn't enjoy knitting this swatch because it's a lace weight, and I didn't even make meat gauge. I was like a good 3 or 4 stitches too many per 4 inches. So with it being a plant, well, silk isn't a plant fiber. That's my pet peeve in other podcasts, when people call silk a plant fiber. It's like, no, worms make that. But with it being a yarn I don't love to knit, I didn't particularly want to go up a couple of sizes so that I could still knit the pattern with a tighter gauge, and I didn't think I could push this to a looser gauge. So I sort of just abandoned that. I still really like that pattern. But I don't know if I would knit it, I guess, just because I don't really see the use in a summer mohair top for me, just with the climate in Philadelphia. But maybe if I was living in Edinburgh again, I would knit and wear that. It could be really good for that sort of summer climate. So yeah, I started looking elsewhere, and I'm excited about this pattern because I have a little bit of a weird amount. Like if I hold it double, I have 650 yards. But if I hold it single, then it's a lace weight and it's a linen. And I don't think I want to hold it with something else, at least with anything else that I already own. So I think that the Look at My Holes tee is going to be great. It's not a tee, I'm planning on making it long sleeve, and we'll just see if I have enough yarn to do the ribbing. If not, I think I'll be very happy with doing an I-cord at all the edges. And I'm making the size 42 inches, which is 2 inches of negative ease for me. I did knit a gauge swatch, but the linen stretches out so much and my swatch looks kind of crap. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's like 3.5 holes per 4 inches, which I guess I'm getting, but it's not a very specific measurement. One thing I did learn from the swatch was that I needed to do a sturdier cast on than I did, which I did Twisted German for my ultimate like garment cast on. I also find that linen stretches out horizontally significantly, so I would be happy with negative ease for this sort of thing, but I doubt that I will end up with negative ease for more than just the first wear. So far, I like the pattern. It's going well. I haven't done very much of it yet, but I think it's going to be good, and it's nice to check something off of my list. Although now, since I just finished these hats, this was also on my list of things I wanted to knit this year. So that's 2 things off of the list. I think there were like 9 or 10 different things in different categories. I haven't bought any yarn in the past 2 weeks. I have just been really enjoying having this like beautiful palette, it's over here, of Shetland yarn to put together palettes with. And I've been enjoying sort of making what I have in my stash work and figuring out what pattern to use, like for the linen silk. And really just like putting my head down and working on the Honeycomb Fisherman's Raglan. So that's pretty much what it's been. I've done a little bit of sewing. My jeans class started for sewing. I am the worst person in the class. Everyone else is much more experienced at sewing than I am, but that's okay. I'm not like bad to the point where I can't do it, but I definitely wouldn't be able to do it on my own at the stage and this level of experience that I have. I'm using a leopard print. I'm trying to see if I have any. Oh. Here's a little scrap of the fabric I'm using. It's a sort of dark leopard print from Blackbird Fibers. I think it's a cotton twill. and I'm sewing the trousers from Daughter Judy Patterns. It's really cool. It's like a barrel leg trouser with a belt, and I'm making the belt, doing the barrel leg, doing it all. I'm not doing any fit adjustments. I haven't made a toile. That is all past my skill level, but if these don't fit, then I would probably try and do that before I made another pair of hard pants is what people call it. But it's been really fun. It's great to be able to just ask a bunch of questions, and there's a lot of top stitching so far. I've done the one change I have made is I've added pocket stays to the pattern, which because they've got inline pockets or inseam pockets, and I read a review that the pockets gaped a little bit, and I have a problem with pockets gaping in my clothing, so I wanted to add pocket stays. So I found a YouTube video that explained it, and I just sewed the pocket facing into the panels of the zipper at the front, so it's reinforced and it won't be pulling. So hopefully that works out. I'm really excited about it, having a lot of fun, and it's cool to be in a class that's really challenging, and since I'm in that setting, I'm able to attempt to make something that's way beyond my skill level on my own. I think if you're a complete beginner and you don't have someone to ask questions, you should not sew this pattern because it's confusing. The illustrations are there, but they're not always super accurate. Like there's a part where you have to fold over a piece of fabric, and then it says to sew up sew up the side, and the illustration made it look like you were only supposed to do the side that was closest, but actually you're supposed to do both of them together, if that makes sense. So I was able to just ask the teacher whether I should do them together, and he said yes, rather than it being explained visually. So I'm really glad to be in that class, and it's been pretty fun. The place is called Butcher Sew Shop, and it's in South Philly, Bella Vista area. So that's been great. I love my fabric, and I think the pattern's really cool, and everyone else in the class seems really nice. I did make another pair of the Clyde trousers. This was my third pair. It's a black linen. They're quite thick, and this pair is pretty much exactly the same as the other two I've made, except I didn't buy quite enough fabric, so I had to cut one of the pieces in half. Well, not really half. I had to do 3/4 of one of the pieces and then cut the little end and then attach those. But it actually looks totally fine. You really would never know that I just didn't buy enough fabric. So maybe this is the right amount of fabric and I was just being a bit thrifty. I don't know. I'll insert a clip of me wearing them, but they're just black linen trousers, so you're probably not going to be able to see very many details of it. I haven't done any more sewing than this because I ran out of fabric. So I did order some more, but it hasn't arrived yet, and I'm just taking a little break from that in the meantime. As for future projects, I'm going to keep working on the fisherman jumper. Hopefully the next time I record in about 2 weeks, I will be, quite close to being done. Maybe not finished, that seems like a bit of a stretch, but close. It'll be soon, I hope. And I'll maybe also have knit a little bit on the Look at My Holes top, but there's no rush on that one because I can knit that even when it's really hot. I'm also going to start swatching for my Fair Isle garment that I'm going to knit next, like my next big project after my color block cable jumper's done. So I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah, I'll start this new hat for my grandma, Buness number 4. So those are my knitting plans and my sewing plans. And I think this has probably been a really fast video. I haven't been feeling, I guess I was feeling quite chatty, but now I'm feeling maybe I wasn't very chatty. So yeah, I've been reading a lot. I'm always reading a lot. I don't really talk about it very much, but I may as well mention it. I have decided that I want to read all of George Eliot's novels. I've read 4 so far, and I think I have 4 left because she only has written 8 or maybe 7. So right now I'm reading Daniel Deronda. I started it today. It's amazing. I love George Eliot. I am very excited to read more from her. I've read Middlemarch, one of my favorite novels that I've ever read. Silas Marner is another favorite. And Adam Bede, which I didn't like as much, but there's like loads of really funny little lines in it. So Daniel Deronda, really good so far. I'm only like 60 pages in, so not even 10% of the way done. And I'm listening to an audiobook, The Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. I've read this before, but I am wanting to start the next trilogy in this sort of long series, The Realm of the Elderlings. It's a fantasy series, and I thought I would reread all of the books. All of this. This is the 6th one in the series that I'm rereading now before I start the next 3. And the next 3 are about the Fool, who is my favorite character from the series. So I'm really excited for that. It's going to be some really good reading in the coming weeks. Oh, I did finish James. I've decided I was going to read all of the Man Booker shortlist novels, and I've now read all of them, which was Orbital, Creation Lake, Held, The Safe Keep, Stoneyard Devotional, and James. And the reason that James was the last one was because I'd never read Huckleberry Finn, and James is about Jim from Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. I read Huckleberry Finn. It was pretty interesting. I understand why it's so famous, but I didn't love it. And then I loved James. I thought that it was wonderful. I thought it was really a work of art. My favorite novel from the shortlist was The Safe Keep, which was my favorite book that I read last year. I do not think Orbital deserved to win. It's good, and I understand that that's what the sort of book that they're looking for, but it's the sort of book where nothing happens, really, and that's not the sort of thing that I like to read, really. I think James should have won. So that's my book chat. Maybe I will do more book chat if I can, if I have another really short video. I read a lot of Victorian novels because I love it. And my master's dissertation was about Elizabeth Gaskell. And during the 2 years when I was working on my master's degree and dissertation, I sort of banned myself from reading any non-Gaskell Victorian stuff because I didn't want to get confused or even worse, distracted and too into something else. So now I'm a free bird and I can read as much George Eliot as I'd like. So that's been fun, and it will continue to be fun. I'm reading Daniel Deronda now, and next is Romola, for no particular reason other than those are the 2 that I have in my possession. So that's exciting for me. I hope it doesn't get too much hotter here, but it's actually pretty nice to have a little bit of springtime. And yeah, still job applications and that sort of thing in my day-to-day. But I hope that you've had a good couple of weeks, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.